in my opinion, the mind is nothing but a breaker fuse for, just like electricity. When your body gets more than it can take, your mind shuts it off and will not let you extend yourself any further. And weightlifter, in my opinion, to lift the type of weights I lift, you must learn to discipline your mind in conjunction with your body.
As Big X the Plug says of Texas, we got Beyonce, Trey the Truth, and we can't forget Devin. Big shout out to them boys, and I can't forget about them Texans. I find it an utter abomination that he failed to mention Doug Young. It might be best to start this story with an image. I want you to picture a 260-pound man with a 55-inch chest packed into a white t-shirt, quads and other anatomy bulging out of his Wranglers, cowboy boots, and a face like the Brawny Man. But Doug Young isn't here to sell you toilet paper. He's got to sidle sideways into the saloon of your mind's eye. The pianist only strikes a wrong note because this dude's footsteps fall so heavy. Big X the Plug is at the bar sipping Texas tea. Mr. Young sits down, orders a tall glass of milk, and adds a heaping scoop, no, 2, of whey protein. Doug Young was no do you even lift USAPL rainbow-backed bencher. Instead of max grip and hyperlumbar mobility, he used his actual muscles to lift. The shocking result was that he looked like he lifted. This man was the epitome of thick, solid, and tight. I pray that as we retrace his steps, at least one of you RPE lords will stop spending 2 hours setting up the right tripod angle to capture your top single and reapply that time to working on some hypertrophy. Doug was born in 1944 in the town of Marshall, which sits smack dab in the bacon-wrapped heart of Texas. His older brother Bob was a football star and state record-setting shot putter. Bob would go on to a 15-year NFL tenure on O-line, then finish second to Bruce Wilhelm at the inaugural World's Strongest Man. It's natural to assume that Doug grew up filling his brother's heavy footsteps. Not quite. At the age of 29, Doug weighed 178 pounds at 5'11" and benched 305. I'm not diminishing that strength, especially at that body weight, but it's a far cry from the poundages he was putting up after dedicating himself to a caloric surplus. In the span of 8 months, Doug ate his way up to 260 and benched 540. Soon thereafter, he became the lightest man to bench 600, setting a lifetime mark of 6'11" in the 275 weight class. To be clear, nobody's going to achieve this by dicking around with hammer strength machines and limiting their daily steps to a dozen rounds at Golden Corral. Doug lifted heavy, he lifted with volume, and he lifted with variety. Strength shaman Josh Bryant outlines the bench press routine that took Doug to that 540. He would work up to 3 or 4 heavy singles in the 90% range, then hit descending backoffs. A workout might look like 4 singles between 515 and 540, followed by 490 for 9 and 300 for 14. These last 2 sets would work out to around 75 and 50% of Doug's 600-pound bench press, respectively. Note the absence of a tripod and camera. Note the volume of quality reps completed. Doug would follow up his benching with front raises, pushdowns, stiff arm pull-downs, flies, bicep work, and rowing. He liked 6 sets of 6 on assistance, pushing his accessories fairly heavy. This came out to 43 working sets, and he wasn't scrolling through Instagram with his free hand while he was doing concentration curls. Oh yeah, Doug completed this training session thrice every freaking week. He squatted every 10th day and deadlifted every 15th, working up to about 6 heavy singles. Though Doug allocated most of his training volume to benching, he also squatted 722 and deadlifted 805 in a full power meet. He competed at both 242 and 275, posting a 2072 total. In 1977, Doug strutted onto the platform with 3 broken ribs and claimed his 3rd IPF world title. Doug's strength and stature had all kinds of folks, including the Austrian Oak, coming to him for advices. When his brother Bob's NFL career was puttering out, Doug stepped in to train him. The program propelled Bob on a comeback tear that culminated in winning Lineman of the Year at an overripe 37. Doug suffered a proportionately massive heart attack in 2005, dying forcefully and abruptly at the age of 61. It's a fate that honestly sounds less tragic than lonely years of demented withering. A manhood stone makes big ripples, and a walking one of those Doug Young was. You can't throw a rock at a powerlifting meet without hitting someone who will forgive the fact that you just threw the rock at them and take it as an opportunity to tell you about the time they trained with, trained like, prayed to, or sought guidance from the spirit of Doug Young. I hope his spirit haunts you every time you skip your accessories on the excuse of specificity. It is astounding to me how far away some corners of powerlifting have strayed from the pursuit of pure contractile tissue. Strength isn't just neural. You need muscle, baby. Please, take Doug Young's remarkable physicality as a PSA to Larson press and squat high bar for more than 4 reps. Thanks for watching. Big X the Plug tells us that, quote, "Young Nation had us jigging, dipping, ain't know how to think," unquote. Perhaps Big X would find solace in Musashi's Dokodo, which advises us to think lightly of ourselves and deeply of the world. See you rapscallions later.